Now let's look at pre-911 land transportation security. Land transportation systems, they were not popular. Okay, uh, they were based on paths and roads, go back to the very beginning of human civilization, but were limited to local scale due to low speed and capacity. For example, an annual amount of goods from multiple trade routes would not fill a modern freighter train. Okay, so they became popular after the invention of steam engine and internal combustion engine. Okay, and here is a photo showing a very early form of train. Okay, it was basically a train head pulling a lot of wagons here. Okay, and people they're just sitting on wagons. And here is another example of land transportation system, which is the interstate road network in United States. And Jenkins addressed worldwide terrorist attacks involving land transportation systems. Okay, he wrote papers about it, and you should know that land transportation uh, systems they are most frequently attacked mode since mid 80s. Okay, it's not maritime, it's not aviation, it's land transportation systems who were most frequently attacked since mid 80s. So terrorist attacks on surface transportation systems had increased in the preceding 3 decades from 1970 to 2000. And specifically, 32% of attacks aimed buses, okay? And after that, 26% of attacks targeted trains and subways, 12% for rail transportation stations, 8% for rails, 7% for bus terminals, and 7% for tourist buses, 5% for bridges and tunnels, 1% for school buses, and 2% for other. So here we can see that why that less attacks they aimed bridges and highways. Why? What do you think about that? I think the most important reason here is that the purpose of terrorist attacks are political impacts and the characters. And in order to achieve those purposes, buses, they are the easiest targets. And also there will be a lot of characters. Okay, and the trains and subways, they are relatively easy to attack with more characters. On the other hand, bridges and highways, you cannot bring a lot of characters from those attacks, right? And that's the most reason, okay, characters. And maybe the last, I mean, the second important reason is that you want political impacts, okay? And then most incidents were found in India and Pakistan. Only 9 incidents occurred in US. Okay, this data is from 1970 to 2000. So you can see that US was not frequently targeted before 2000 for land transportation systems. And India and Pakistan, you may know that these two countries, they do not get along very well. They used to be one country, and India used to be a country full of Hindus and Muslims. And after the departure of UK, India became an independent country. But one of the consequences of UK's rule of is that Muslims and Hindus, they did not get along very well either. So Muslims, they had to go to Pakistan or Bangladesh. Okay, that's the reason why that now we have three countries: India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. They used to be one country. And today, India and Bangladesh, they are relatively okay, but India and Pakistan, they are, you can consider them enemy to each other. Okay. Okay, another example I want to mention here is very important as an example of terrorist attacks on land transportation system is the chemical weapon attack on Tokyo subway system by the Aum Shinrikyo cult. You may have heard this before, okay? So Aum cult was notorious for its apocalyptic worldview and the fascination of mass destruction weapons. And can you imagine that in 1980s, this cult was simply a yoga club, okay? And the Aum is its name. Shinrikyo is actually Japanese for a religion for truth. So Aum is the name. Shinrikyo means a religion for truth. And now it's a cult. I mean, it's not there anymore, I believe, because its head has been arrested. I'm not sure if he's still in prison or executed, but the cult is not there anymore. So on March 20th, 1995, perpetrators released the sarin nerve gas. It's a chemical weapon on 3 lines of Tokyo Metro during morning rush hour. So caused 13 fatalities and more than 6,000 injuries. It was the first use of chemical weapons on major rail transit system. Okay, so what are issues exposed by Tokyo subway sarin attack? Firstly, authorities' reluctance to deal with religious groups. Religion is a sensitive topic. Okay, not only here, I mean, sometimes here in US, but also around the world. So it's reasonable that authorities, they don't want to touch this topic. So that's the reason why there is soil for cults to grow. Okay, and secondly, this is more practical, more common, decentralized structure of Japanese police forces. It means that police stations or police department in different regions of Japan, they are relatively independent to each other. There is no strong centralized police agency at national level to make unified policies for transportation securities. Okay, this is very crucial. It is very crucial that to have unified policies at different levels of a country, at national level, at a province or state level, then at local level. And also there should be a strong leadership in a country to address transportation security issues. Later, we will see good examples and bad examples. Okay. So again, by Jenkins, he summarized pre-911 land transportation security measures widely used around the world. Firstly, security plans, then threat assessment. Okay, I will just leave specific explanations to you, okay? And station design and surveillance. But for this part, only UK and France, these 2 European countries, considered security in building and remodeling of stations and used security cameras to monitor public transportation systems. So you can say UK and France, they're doing better than other countries in terms of station design and surveillance. A lot of people would say that surveillance is a violation of privacy of the public. I would say yes, but when you learn through this semester in this course, you will see that there is always balance between privacy and your safety. Sometimes I would say it's worth it to sacrifice some privacy to get safety. Okay. Okay. You can agree with me, you can disagree with me, but that was just my personal opinion. Let's just say, okay, you will say a lot of, like I said, good examples, bad examples, and what consequences they will lead to. Okay. And then security force, right? A combination of private security companies and police department components, right? That's a yearly pattern of security force for transportation security. There is also security patrol, widely used, and also training of patrol and security force personnel, right? So there is also something called covert training. Only UK, again, UK appears for the second time, used covert instead of covert. Covert testing to evaluate the performance of security systems and personnel, which means that the authority pretend to attack or pretend to harm the land transportation security, and uses this way to check or to evaluate the performance of security personnel and systems. Okay, and they didn't know there was a covert test. Okay, so UK again is doing better than other countries. And the passenger screening, infeasible for all systems studied due to the delays and costs involved. So emergency response teams and security exercises. And why did the UK perform better than other countries studied? Was there something stimulating UK to do better than other countries in terms of land transportation security? And the answer is yes. And IRA is a stimulus. Okay, Irish Republican Army. You may have heard this terrorist organization. What's the purpose of them? They're trying to make Northern Ireland independent. Okay, to join Ireland or simply to be independent and get rid of the country of UK. They do not want to stay as a part of UK. So they had waged a terrorist campaign against British government since 1969, and land transportation systems were their main targets. Okay, so pre 9/11 land transportation security system of UK, it was most extensive one before 9/11. Okay, 9/11. And the Department of the Environment, Transport and Regions, DETR, was and still is responsible for setting and enforcing national standards of railway systems, made national policies and guidelines act for land transportation security. So here is a very good example for a unified high-level governmental agency to address transportation security issues in a country. Okay, you can say that DETR is responsible for setting and enforcing national standards, which means there are national standards. there are not only local standards, which could be very low quality and not unified from one region to another. Here, UK has its national standards, which means the standards should be applied to different counties. In US, maybe states, in say in China or Canada, different provinces. So no matter it's a region with high population, low population, it's a region of poor or relatively rich, no matter, you have to follow my national standards. That's very important, okay? And British Transport Police serves as the police force for railway systems in UK. So it's independent from Metro Police system. It's exclusive to what British Transport System. I mean, this police force, right? And they are not a private company employees. They're public servants, which means they can share training, professional training and knowledge with military, with regular military units, with regular police. So they are well trained. They have very stable funding from the central government. They have enough personnel to deal with possible terrorist attacks around the country. So it's not like Japan, decentralized police system all over the country. They try to do their own job and try not to touch anything outside of their boundary. That's something very bad when someone is trying to attack, to carry out terrorist attacks on your country, okay? And the pre-911 land transportation security system of UK encompassed all measures summarized by Jenkins. All those red keywords I mentioned here, they all exist in transportation security system of UK, even before 9/11. So how did the system perform in UK? Okay, there should be no about here, typo. How did the system perform in UK? Let's say the targets of IRA. Okay, these targets of IRA shifted from stations in London to suburban stations to home counties of IRA. So you can see the trend here. They have been pushed back from the capital of the country to suburban stations to their home counties. Okay, and also shifted from stations to railways far away from stations, which means less casualties, less fatalities, right? And shifted from bombs to bomb threats. So bombs, they're actually going to hurt people, but bomb threats, anybody can make a bomb threat, right? So you can see that the system performed very well and protected UK very well from IRA due to centralized governmental agency with unified national policies, guidelines, standards, with a specific police force to enforce the security of land transportation system, with also with a very comprehensive transportation security system encompassing all these possible security measures for land transportation security. So that's the reason why IRA retreats from capital to suburban to their home counties, remote counties, from stations to railways far away from stations, from bombs to bomb threats. Okay, so next, I want to introduce aviation security, but I will just stop here and use another video to finish this part. Thank you.